Hey everyone. Okay, so I'm basically filming this video because I had promised you guys um, a description of my journey back home, and it's hard because during COVID, um, flying is not exactly like how you guys would probably remember it if you haven't done it during this period. I just got back home on Tuesday, and it was the longest journey of my life. So of course I was in Australia, which already is a long journey, so I'm not expecting it to be any shorter than what it was. It was just the processes that were involved were just strenuous on the body. It was stressful all around, I think, for everyone, including airport staff. I could just see it was just not a very pleasant experience, but I guess, flying right now is more for necessity than it is for luxury. Okay, I don't speak for all, but for me, I needed to come back home to be with my, to check on my businesses, stuff like that. And basically, I just want to have just a warning for anyone who is traveling a long amount of distance or coming into Kenya. I can't speak for every flight out there, but okay, so the basic gist is that when I started from Adelaide, I worked my way to Sydney. In Sydney, there was, I would say, an hour and a half of a check-in process, just because they had to check, well, has the government allowed you to leave? How much weight you're carrying? There's a lot of people that, they're being very, very strict on allowances of weight and luggage. And that actual part of the flight was fine because you had to have your mask and you were given a face shield, which is this clear, if you don't know what a face shield is, it's basically a clear plastic that sits like a visor on your head, and then it covers your entire face, but you can see through it. We were given that just before boarding the first flight from Sydney to Doha. And you can imagine it's already uncomfortable with a mask, let alone a mask and a face shield, which you had to be wearing for what was almost a 14-hour, I don't know, 13 to 14-hour flight, if I'm not wrong. You couldn't remove it. It was I don't even have words for it. It was hot. It was uncomfortable. The only time you could actually remove your mask on the flight is when you were eating. And I didn't trust the food to eat on the flight, to be honest. So I didn't even eat anything. I didn't want to use the bathroom. You can imagine having to hold it for that long. I know I'm crazy, but I just didn't want to be touching everything that everyone else has been touching. I had my gloves, I had my hand sanitizer sprays. I know you guys are probably thinking I'm crazy, but I literally just did not want to move from my seat unless it was to exit the plane. So I managed to get through that. I had 3 seats to myself. A lot of people were spaced out evenly. So most people had 3 seats, or if you're in your family, you were put together. Including kids, actually. I have to let you families know that if you're traveling, your kids have to wear the face shield and the mask as well. I saw a lot of kids having tantrums because of this. It was just an uncomfortable situation. When I went in, I put on my airflow because I'm told that disturbs any particles in the air that might be going towards you, blah, blah, blah. And I literally wiped down my whole entire seating area before I sat down, and just for peace of mind, to feel comfortable as I'm sitting there for a long time. And I guess that part of the flight was not too bad. They had locked down the arm bars in the middle, so I couldn't actually sleep across, even though I had 3 seats to myself. So you can imagine being in this position for that amount of time. It felt like insanity. But anyway, I didn't expect to be comfortable coming, on a flight coming back. The part that I'm going to tell you guys was a serious health concern for me was when we reached Doha and I was transiting into another flight now from Doha to Kenya. The entire flight was full, and I understand that they have a big demand for flights coming back or towards Africa. I get it. There was a lot of African flights that looked like there was a lot of people waiting to get back home. But the issue was when we got in, again, you're given a face mask and a face shield, a fresh one. I already had my face mask in my bag. I had, because you have meant to change your N95s every 4 hours. So that's what I kept doing. I had a timer on my phone. But what good is all of that when I sat in my seat heading back home and we were stacked together? Literally, the person next to me, I could feel their breath. Like her arm was on my armbar. So I'm like, what is the point of, like, every time we're getting into the flight, oh, 1.5 meters apart, oh, 1.5 meters apart, everyone. And then you get on a plane and you've paid good amount of money to get home. And because they want to make as much money as they can with flights coming back, you get stuck, three of you on a row. Strangers, you know, bless their hearts, don't know them, but how can you do that? Like, the responsible, the ethical side of just taking care of your passengers as an airline, how was that possible? How did they get away with that, is what I didn't understand. I was so uncomfortable for, I think it was a 5.5 hour flight into Nairobi. 5.5 hours sitting next to someone like this. There's someone in front of you, there's someone at the back of you. Like, I couldn't even move. I couldn't move. It was just because I just didn't even want to move around. I just didn't want to. If even one person in that radius had it, as much as you have face mask, face shield, everything, how can you keep promoting the concept of social distancing and you have someone literally, I would say, 2 inches away from you? I was so upset with Qatar. I asked, and you guys, just in case you think I didn't ask, I asked the air hostess. I was like, hey, is there any place where there's a bunch of seats spaced out so that we can at least seat like one seat in the middle spare, like in between us? Oh no, ma'am, it's, you know, it's full. It's a full flight. Sorry. And I was like, I couldn't actually believe it. Qatar, that was, for me, I felt it was very irresponsible for an airline to put people at risk like that. For 6 or 5.5 hours, 5.5 hours of someone who, of course, might sneeze, might cough. The whole thing is recycled air anyway. You're already freaking out that you're on this flight, and then on top of that, they do that to you. It's like being in Kenya. It's like being in a matatu for 6 hours next to someone who you're recycling the same air. It's not like you can open the window and have fresh air come at you. And to make it worse, we had a delay in the tarmac, so we had to sit there for an hour with no aircon in the sun in Qatar, like the runway. How did any of this happen, and how do they get away with any of this? I will never understand. So I'm just giving you guys a big warning that your airline situation, I don't know what it may be, but if any person from an airline is watching this, I could not believe it. If it's normal, I don't know. Maybe I'm freaking out and I'm being extra, but I came home to quarantine at home and I have my auntie staying with me and, you know, my cousin, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to really keep away from them, which I was anyway. I was going to keep away from them, but you freak out a lot more with the whole concept of I was literally this close next to someone, this close on an airline. Like, it's just, I don't think this should be happening. I thought they should have at least one seat. Even though they want to make money, at least have one seat in between each person that was spare, is all I would ask for. And then there was a whole thing of now getting into Nairobi. You get put all in a bus together. That's fine. I was already used to being stuck next to everyone anyway. They didn't even think to have it linking from one of the, what are they, the floating gateway things where you come out of the flight and then you walk into the airport. No. And then when you get there, you have to stand in lines and then they tell you to keep distance then. That was the first time in like 7 hours I was being told to keep distance. And then just a warning for everyone, they keep updating forms that you need to fill out when you arrive in, because now they're allowing international flights. I don't understand how they're allowing a lot of hotspots to fly in without quarantining. I won't go into that. That's a whole other situation. But in the lines, you had to have filled and gotten a QR code for where you're quarantining, your health something. I filled that out. And you got through a lot quicker if you had all of those details ready. So I'm just giving you guys a warning. If you're just planning to fly in, please have all your documents, check everything that you need to do before you get here. Have all your documents ready when you're put in that line, because they will ask you who has this, and this. And I was one of the first people to put up my hand because my friend arrived a day before me and warned me what to fill out. So yes, I am home. I'm so grateful to be home. It'll be a week on Tuesday. And I'm just watching out for symptoms, you know, trying to keep my mental health up, keeping myself busy, painting the house. But I just needed to warn everyone just because it just didn't, to me, the whole thing didn't make any sense. I don't know if it was anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope it's helpful. Maybe it'll help you pre-plan in case you are stuck in a plane where it's that full. And please comment below if this is normal and I'm overreacting. And yeah, thank you for watching my video, guys. Bye.